Hi friends, I wanted to take a few minutes here to talk about what it means to sit with your feelings or sit with your emotions. I know that this can be kind of a confusing topic or concept if you've never practiced it before, but you may or may not have heard of it and wondered what the heck does that mean and how do I do it? So I wanted to kind of walk you through that, but first I wanted to tell you how I came into the practice myself. So years ago, I found myself feeling really sad, kind of often, more often than I was comfortable with. And anytime I felt sad, I found myself shaming and criticizing myself for having the experience of sadness. I was believing that I shouldn't be sad and that I should be happy and that I should be grateful. And I had so many good things going on in my life. Why the heck was I feeling sad? And so there was a lot of shame and judgment and criticism around the feeling of being sad. And so instead of being with or leaning into the emotion of sadness and trying to learn something from it, I tried to disconnect from it. I tried to distract myself from it, to pretend that it didn't exist. I tried to overcompensate by doing things that made me feel really happy so that I wouldn't have to feel it, whatever I could do. But one day I sort of had this random thought of, what if I didn't try to get rid of sadness? What if there's nothing actually wrong with me and I'm not supposed to get rid of it? And so instead of, trying to run away from it or get rid of it, I decided to sit with it. And I literally mean sit on the floor with it. At that time, I was already in the practice of meditation, so sitting on the floor was a really comfortable space for me. But for you, that might look a little bit different. Maybe sitting with it means you're sitting or laying in your bed, or sitting in a chair by your window, or even just sitting in the car. Wherever you are, it's just about being present to the emotion in that moment. So for me, the very first time that I had this practice, I sat on the floor and I was feeling the sadness. So I first identified what I was feeling. Okay, I'm feeling sad. And then I started to identify where I was feeling it in my body. And I even started to give it sort of some descriptive words, because I'm such a visual person, and you may not be visual, so it may not work the same for you, but I started to imagine what color it was, what shape it was, what it might look like, and really started to almost personify it or objectify it and make it separate from who I was. So it wasn't like I am sadness, I was feeling sadness, and it was this thing that was sort of separate from who I was. And so when I imagined that, then I began to imagine myself cradling it in my arms, as if I was the mother to this thing that was feeling sad, or to this aspect of myself that was feeling sad. And so sitting with my emotion meant literally sort of imagining myself sitting on the floor holding this emotion, and then kind of being in relationship with it. Instead of trying to get rid of it or judging it or feeling frustrated with it, I started to get curious and ask questions of this emotion. So, why are you here? What maybe triggered you to show up in my body? What are you afraid of? What do you need from me? When did this start? Like, where in my life maybe was there an experience that maybe started this emotion and made it really alive for me? So whatever questions kind of come to your mind, it's really about just getting curious, as if you're meeting somebody for the very first time. So what kind of questions do you want to ask this thing or person to get to know it a little bit better, to understand why it exists, to understand what it needs from you? And in the simplest way, that is what it means to sit with your emotions. And, we can get a lot deeper into this, but I wanted to just make it a really simple, sort of accessible tool for you. If sitting in meditation or sitting, closing your eyes and feeling your emotion feels uncomfortable to you or doesn't feel safe to you in your body and you're not ready to go there, you could also sit with your emotion by writing to the emotion. So you might write, "Dear sadness, I see you today. You're here. What is it that you want me to know? I want to learn a little bit more about you. Can you tell me why you exist? Things like that. And then let sadness or whatever emotion that you're experiencing right back to you. And sometimes you might even change the color of your pen or your pencil so that it feels like it's actually two different people in conversation with one another. So sitting with an emotion is really about being in relationship with a part of your an aspect of yourself, an emotion that you're having, getting curious about it, and doing that in whatever way that looks to you. So it could be through art, it could be through writing, it could be through literally sitting down in sort of a meditation experience. So I hope that's helpful. Let me know if there's any questions that you might have.